When I was 14, between my 8th grade and beginning high school, my sister invited a friend from church camp to come stay with us for a while, a week or something. Um, it ended up turning out to be something more like 3 weeks. My mom kept saying, well, when is she going to leave? Well, her parents had recently split up and were getting a divorce, and in hindsight, I realized that she was pretty needy, and our family was pretty intense, and she was very religious. She used to hum this song, and I turned out it was a hymn. I finally asked her one day, what is that? She says, well, that's a hymn that goes something like, there comes a time for every man in every nation to decide. Well, she was very religious. She didn't believe in premarital sex, but she wanted affection. So she'd gotten pretty hot and heavy with a neighbor named Chuck Miller, uh, and at camp. But when camp ended and she came to stay with us, he came right down there and wanted to take her to the movies. And they'd been necking enough that I think he had high hopes of starting his sexual life, if he hadn't already. But she wasn't going to have anything of that. And so then down comes the minister from the Dalles Sun, Bob Taylor, with another buddy of his in a newish red Oldsmobile convertible. And they were going to sweep her off somewhere, and the buddy was wanting to make love to her. She'd have none of it. So she was then sort of isolated there with my sister and our family. And one day, something occurred to her. Here's this big gawky 14-year-old. I was 6'1" already by then, and who was no threat. I had never really kissed a girl yet by then with any kind of passion. And so she worked it out with my mom that she could borrow the family car. I don't know how my mom ever went along with that, but she took me to the drive-in movie. And we sat there it was a double feature. We sat there the whole first feature, holding hands and her squeezing my hand, trying to encourage me to move over and have our first kiss. And I was scared. But between movies, I gave myself a little lecture. You're going to kiss that girl. So when the second movie started, I worked up my nerve and I kissed her, and then we sat the whole second movie kissing the whole movie. And after that, for at least a week, I think it was longer than that, every chance we got to get alone, we necked and necked and necked. But true to her religion and her morals, I never even touched her breast, let alone her vaginal area. We just kissed and held each other very tight, full body hugs on the bed, but no hanky-panky. Well, years later, I took a class a couple years after our baby died, and I prayed all night, and God didn't save him. I was very disillusioned with God, and I took a class in existentialism and learned that existentialists, Sartre, Camus, Kierkegaard, all believed that we're born with a body and a temperament, but our character, our personality is all created through choices. And they talk about fear and loathing when we realize that our choices are our own internal legislation, our own internal laws, and they shape us, and we are responsible for that. Not somebody up there that will forgive us once a week when we confess our wrongdoings, but it's on us, baby. And so I became somebody that believed in existentialism, and I have ever since. And Where am I going with this? Oh, I know. Now, when I went to Holland for the first time in 1990, I heard from my Dutch cousins. I had two third cousins there that were 85 years old when I went there, and they had both been in the resistance against the Nazis during the Second World War. And I heard a lot from them. And what I heard a lot was that many Dutch people just got along with the Nazis and didn't do anything to try to resist the Germans hauling 90,000 Jews away from the Netherlands to murder them. And, well, there's nothing we can do. What can we do? Well, our life is defined by the moral choices we make. They also told me that the Germans had everybody on a list and their food was rationed to them. And if you acted up, resisted, they just kicked you off the list. And where were you going to get your food? So these choices were not made lightly. They were life and death choices. But some people chose to do something. And that makes me feel like we should be doing something about the genocide in Gaza. And when people tell me, oh, there's nothing we can do, it makes me angry. I just heard it an hour ago from a neighbor defending their boss having a Tesla. Oh, you'd have to take a $20,000 hit to get rid of that car. Well, if he's got $70,000 to buy a fancy car, it ain't just to protect the environment. It's a showpiece. If you can afford to buy it, you could probably afford to take the hit to sell it at a reduced price. I'm sorry. We have to make some sacrifices here, or we should. We live by our choices. There is something we can do.